Sign it, now." Her uncle slaps the marriage contract onto the cracked table. Amara stares at the name, Kwame Osei, the disabled beggar from the marketplace. Her hands shake. She has no choice. "You're a burden. At least this cripple will take you off my hands." The room laughs. Even her aunt turns away. Have you ever been sold by the people who were supposed to protect you? This is one of those real-life stories where everything looks broken until the truth explodes. Today's African Stories reveals a forced marriage that became the most shocking reckoning in village history. These touching stories from African folklore remind us that life stories hide power in the most unexpected places. Amara signs with tears streaming. Guests whisper and point. She doesn't know the beggar she's marrying is worth more than everyone in this room combined. 3 weeks earlier, Amara knelt in the compound courtyard, scrubbing pots under the midday sun. The metal scraped her knuckles, raw skin. She didn't complain. 22 years old, invisible. Her parents died when she was 16. Tractor accident during the rains. No brakes. Both gone in seconds. Uncle Boadu and Aunt Issy took her in. They called it charity. Amara called it a bargain. 6 years of unpaid labor for a mat in the storage room and 2 meals a day. But she had a dream. Teacher training. Every night after the family slept, she studied by candlelight, borrowed textbooks, practiced letters, memorized equations. She saved coins in a rusted tin beneath the compound's mango tree. 2 years, 347 cedis. Enough for enrollment. Uncle Boadu found it last month, dug it up while she was at market, confronted her in front of neighbors, called her ungrateful, a thief, planning to abandon the family that fed her for 2,190 days. He kept every cedi. He said, "You owe me. I just found a way to collect." The village gathering happened on a Friday. Chief Ofusu presided beneath the acacia tree. 60 villagers on wooden benches, drums humming, children chasing chickens. Uncle Boadu stood front and center in bright red kente cloth, gold rings catching sunlight. "My niece, Amara, will marry Kwame Osei. Wedding in 2 weeks." Silence. Then whispers. "Kwame? The crippled beggar? Lives in that shack by the cemetery?" Uncle raised his hand. "A humble match for a humble girl. Kwame paid bride price. 3 goats, 500 cedis. Contract signed." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Cruel laughter. Amara sat on the back bench, frozen, her own marriage announced like livestock. Aunt Essie turned away. Chief Ofusu cleared his throat. "Amara, do you consent?" Uncle answered first. "She consents, already arranged." "The law requires." "She's 22, family authority until 25. I'm guardian. Marriage proceeds." Amara's voice cracked. "I haven't met him." "You'll meet him at the altar," Uncle snapped. "Be grateful anyone wants you." The crowd murmured agreement. Orphaned girls had no value. A disabled groom was mercy. Amara scanned the gathering for Kwame Osei. She'd seen him before. Everyone had. The beggar near the marketplace. Severe limp, ragged clothes, battered cup for coins. He stood in the acacia's shadow now, back to the crowd. Posture straight. Too straight for a beggar. He didn't flinch when they said cripple. Strange. That evening Kwame came to the compound. Uncle offered hospitality. Chair, water, bread. Kwame declined the chair. "I prefer to stand." His voice was soft, clear, educated. He said reciprocal respect and autonomous choice. Amara frowned. Beggars didn't talk like that. Uncle didn't notice, too busy counting profit.
Dowry's paid. She's yours in 2 weeks. Kwame's eyes found Amara. May I speak with her? 5 minutes. They stepped into the courtyard. Orange sunset bleeding across sky. Kwame shifted weight onto one leg, leaning. The limp was real. But his hands, clean, smooth. No calluses, no grime. You don't want this marriage, Kwame said. Not a question. No. Neither do I. But sometimes we choose the lesser poison. Amara bristled. I didn't choose anything. Fair. He looked toward the gate. Your uncle has gambling debts. He needed fast money. I needed something else. What? A reason to stay invisible.
Before she could ask more, Kwame quoted a proverb. The crooked tree still bears fruit. Faint smile. Then he limped toward the gate. Amara watched. His shoes, hidden beneath frayed trousers, were leather. Expensive leather. Merchant shoes. Why would a beggar wear those? 3 days before the wedding, Amara went to market for okra. Old Nanaya grabbed her wrist at the spice stall. Child, listen. The lame lion walks in disguise. Wait for the rain ceremony. I don't believe prophecies. Not prophecy, observation. Nanaya released her. Your beggar isn't what he seems. Watch his shack tonight. Watch who visits. Curiosity won. That night, Amara slipped out after Uncle fell asleep. She walked the dirt path toward the cemetery. Kwame's shack sat on the village edge, small and sagging. Except up close, it wasn't sagging. Sturdy lock on the door. Solar panel on the roof. Small but new. Then headlights cut the darkness. A black sedan. 2 men in pressed shirts stepped out. Knocked. Kwame opened the door. The men bowed. Amara crouched behind a bush, heart hammering. She couldn't hear words, but she saw Kwame hand them a folder, saw them nod, respectful, deferential. They drove away. She ran back to the compound, breathless. Who was Kwame Osei? 2 days later, the wedding preparations began. Uncle hired a small hall, minimal decorations, cheap palm wine. He invited his gambling friends, men who laughed when Amara entered, who whispered burden and cripple loud enough for her to hear. She wore her mother's faded blue dress. No jewelry, no flowers. Kwame arrived limping, clean but poorly dressed. He met her eyes once. Something flickered there. Apology, maybe, or recognition. The ceremony was brief. 7 traditional items required from the groom's family. Kwame presented 6. All worn, all cheap. Guests snickered. When the elder asked, "Do you accept this union?" Amara almost said no. But where would she go? I accept. Uncle clapped too loud. Aunt Isi didn't clap at all. As they left the hall, Kwame whispered, I won't touch you without permission. You have my word. It was the kindest thing anyone had said to her in 6 years.
Kwame's home was not a shack. From the outside, yes. Warped planks, rusted tin, weeds. But inside, Amara found order. Shelves lined with books, English novels, Twi poetry, mathematics. A small desk with papers in neat stacks. The floor swept. The air smelling of lemon soap. You can have the bed, Kwame said, pointing to a narrow cot. I'll take the floor. Amara set down her bag, everything she owned. You don't have to. I do. Firm, but kind. You didn't choose this. I won't make it worse. That first night, he kept his word. Slept on the mat, didn't touch her, didn't look at her after she changed behind the privacy screen he'd rigged. In the morning, he was gone before sunrise. Days blurred into routine. Kwame left each morning to beg at the market, returned at dusk, clean, no dust, no coins, no bruises. Amara noticed things. His limp was inconsistent. Some mornings severe, barely walking. Other evenings barely there, just a slight drag. Once, she watched through the window as he walked toward the road, normal gait. Then he saw her shadow in the glass and the limp returned, exaggerated. He was performing. Why? On the 5th day, Dr. Mensah visited. Middle-aged, kind eyes, graying temples. He knocked twice, entered. "Kwame, your medication." Small bottle. "Thank you." Kwame took it, nodded at Amara. "My wife." Dr. Mensah smiled. "Congratulations." To Amara, "He's treating an old injury, car accident 3 years ago, shattered femur, healing well with therapy." "Car accident?" Amara echoed. "Very serious. Lucky to walk at all." Dr. Mensah glanced at Kwame. "The limp will fade completely if you keep the exercises." After the doctor left, Amara turned. "You're getting better, but pretending to be worse." "Yes." "Why?" Kwame picked up a book. Didn't answer.
2 weeks in, Uncle Boadu barged in at noon, 2 gambling friends trailing, reeking of palm wine. "Amara, I need you at the compound. Chief Ofosu's son is visiting tomorrow. You'll cook." Amara stood from sweeping. "I don't live there anymore." "Don't be stupid. Your family. You owe me." "She owes you nothing." Kwame blocked the doorway, limp pronounced. "She's my wife. You have no claim." Uncle laughed. "Your wife? You're a beggar. Can't even feed her. This place is falling apart. She'll starve." "She won't." "We'll see." Uncle leaned close, hissing. "When the rains fail and you crawl for scraps, remember, I warned you." He spat and left. Amara's hands shook. Kwame touched her shoulder lightly. "Are you hurt?" No, but she was. That night, Kwame made tea, real tea, expensive. She didn't ask where he got it. 3 weeks in, Amara started a garden behind the shack. Market women gave her scraps and seeds. She planted okra, tomatoes, peppers, watered them every morning. Something hers. The vendors began respecting her, saw her working, hands in soil, no complaints. Work had dignity. One afternoon, Mama Kos pulled her aside. "Your husband, he's not what people think." "What do you mean?" "I've seen him talking to merchants, real merchants, not begging, negotiating. He knows commodity prices better than traders." "You're mistaken." "Maybe," Mama Kos shrugged. "But beggars don't use words like market volatility and export margins." That evening, Amara confronted Kwame. He sat at the desk, reading a document covered in legal jargon. "Who are you? Really?" He looked up, calm. A man trying to live quietly. "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I can give." "Why?" "Because some truths change everything, and I'm not ready for everything to change." "What does that mean?" He closed the document. "It means I need time, and I need to know if—" He stopped. "Please, trust me a little longer." Amara wanted to scream, but something in his eyes, vulnerability maybe, fear, stopped her. She went to bed angry. Sleep didn't come easy. A month in, late one night, voices outside woke Amara. Low, urgent. She crept to the window. 2 men stood with Kwame, well-dressed. One held a briefcase. The other gestured at papers illuminated by flashlight. "Sir, the quarterly reports," the first man's voice carried. "Profits up significantly. The Lagos contract is finalized." "Good. And the cooperative?" "Funded. 40 farmers enrolled. Projection strong." Kwame's voice was different, authoritative, commanding. "Ensure fair wages, transparent ledgers by Friday." "Yes, sir." The men bowed and left. Amara's heart pounded. Sir? Profits? Contracts? The next morning, she waited until Kwame returned from his begging. He set down his empty cup, started organizing papers. "I heard you last night." He froze. "Men calling you sir, talking about profits and contracts and cooperatives. Who are you?" Kwame exhaled slowly. "I can't or won't. Both. That's not fair. No, it's not." He met her eyes. "But if I tell you now, you'll leave, or you'll stay for the wrong reasons. Either way, I lose something I'm not ready to lose." "What?" "The chance to know if you're here because you choose me, not what I have." Amara stepped back. "You're testing me." "I'm protecting myself." "By lying?" "By waiting." His voice softened. "I will tell you. Soon. I promise, but not yet." She wanted to rage, to demand, but she remembered Uncle's cruelty, Aunt Essie's silence, the village's mockery. Kwame had been the only person who'd asked nothing of her, given her space, respect. Even now, his secrets felt less like betrayal and more like wounds he wasn't ready to show. "1 month," Amara said. "You have 1 month to tell me the truth. After that, I leave." Deal. 3 days later, a letter arrived. Village postman delivered it to the shack. Sealed envelope. Accra Legal Services stamped across the front. Kwame grabbed it quickly, tucked it under his shirt. "What's that?" "Nothing." "Another secret?" "A necessary one." He hesitated. "The rain ceremony is in 5 weeks. After that, everything will make sense. Can you wait that long?" "Do I have a choice?" "You always have a choice. That's the point." Amara didn't understand, but she nodded. 4 weeks into the marriage, Amara found a locked metal box under Kwame's bed while sweeping. She heard papers rustling inside when she nudged it with her foot. She didn't try to open it, but curiosity gnawed. That night, she asked, casually, "What's in the box under your bed?" Kwame paused mid-bite of his evening meal. "Documents. Personal documents." "Legal documents?" "Some." "About what?" "Amara." He set down his spoon. "You promised to wait until the rain ceremony." "I didn't promise not to ask questions." He almost smiled. "Fair, but I'm still not answering." She wanted to hate him for the mystery, but she couldn't, because every day he proved himself in small ways. Made her tea, fixed the garden fence, never raised his voice, never demanded intimacy. And the limp, she noticed it was almost gone now. He barely pretended anymore when they were alone. "Your leg is better," she observed. "Yes." "Dr. Mensah was right. You don't need to limp." "No." "But you still do in public." "Yes." "Why?" "Because the world is cruel to those it thinks are weak, and kind to those it underestimates." He met her gaze. He learned that the hard way. Amara sensed a story beneath those words. Trauma. Betrayal. But he didn't elaborate. She let it rest. The night before the rain ceremony preparations began, Nana Ya appeared at the shack, unannounced. She handed Amara a small bundle of herbs. "For clarity," the old woman said cryptically. "Clarity of what?" "Tomorrow, many truths surface. You'll need strength." Nana Ya glanced at Kwame through the window. "The lame lion roars soon.
Be ready." Then she left. Amara stared at the herbs, at Kwame inside, reading by candlelight, at the locked box under the bed. What was coming? The rain ceremony was 5 days away. The village buzzed with preparation. Families cleaned compounds. Women sewed new kente. Men repaired the ceremonial platform. Children practiced songs. Uncle Boadu was everywhere, loud, proud, organizing like he owned the celebration. He'd been elected coordinator, a position with prestige and control over the ceremony budget. 2,000 sadies from the village fund. He strutted in bright red kente, gold rings flashing, barking orders. Amara avoided him, stayed near the shack, tending her garden, selling vegetables. But she couldn't avoid the gossip. "Did you hear? Boadu's building a new roof. Paid cash. Where'd a gambling addict get that money? Chief's son is getting engaged too. Big announcement at the ceremony." Something felt wrong. Uncle's sudden wealth, his smugness, the timing.
3 days before the ceremony, Amara was at market when she overheard two merchants arguing near the yam stalls. "I'm telling you, Osei Holdings bought the entire Western Cooperative, 40 farms, 1 contract." "Osei Holdings? That export giant from Accra?" "Yes, the owner's a ghost. Nobody's seen him in 3 years, but his managers are everywhere. Fair wages, transparent books, changing the whole region. Who is he? No idea. Some billionaire who disappeared after a scandal, accident or something. Paranoid now. Total secrecy." Amara's hands stilled over her tomatoes. Osei Holdings. Kwame Osei. Coincidence? She thought of the late-night visitors, the bowing, the briefcase, the documents. Her pulse quickened. That evening, the moment Kwame returned, she confronted him. "I heard something today, at market." He set down his walking stick carefully. "What did you hear?" "Merchants talking about an export company. Osei Holdings, billionaire owner, disappeared 3 years ago. Same last name as you, same obsession with secrecy." Kwame's face went blank. "It's a common name." "Is it your company?" Silence. Long, heavy. "Answer me." "I can't. Can't or won't." "Amara, don't lie to me. Not now. I've stayed. I've waited. I've trusted you and you gave me nothing but mysteries and half-truths. You owe me this." His jaw tightened. "If I tell you, everything changes." "Everything already changed the moment I heard that name." She stepped closer. "Who are you, really?" He exhaled, sat on the desk edge, looked at his hands. "I'm the owner, Osei Holdings. Agricultural exports across West Africa. I employ 200 people, fund cooperatives in 6 regions. My company is worth," he paused, "approximately 43 million cedis." The world tilted. Amara grabbed the chair back. "You're what?" "A billionaire." The shack felt absurd. The ragged clothes, the begging cup, the limp, all of it theater. "Why?" Her voice barely held. "Why this disguise? Why lie?" "Because I needed to know." "Know what?" "If anyone would value me without the money." His voice hardened. 3 years ago, I learned the truth about people, about what they really want, and it broke me.
Kwame stood, paced the small space. "I was engaged. Ama. Society woman, beautiful, educated, connected. We planned a wedding, 500 guests, politicians, media coverage. Then I had the accident." He stopped at the window, stared out. "Car crash. My femur shattered in 3 places. Doctor said I'd walk again, but recovery would take months. I'd limp for a while, maybe permanently. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks." His voice went flat, empty. "Ama visited once, looked at my leg in the cast, at the wheelchair beside my bed. She said, "I can't marry a cripple. What would people say?" Then she left. 2 weeks later, she was engaged to a politician. They're married now, have a child. Amara's throat tightened. So I withdrew, left Accra, put managers in charge of the company, started traveling to small villages, dressed as a beggar, pretending the limp was permanent. I wanted to test something. Test what? Whether anyone would see value in me when I had nothing to offer. No money, no status, no future. Just a broken body and a kind word. And for 3 years, no one did. People ignored me, insulted me, threw coins like I was dirt. I was invisible. He turned to face her. Exactly what I wanted to prove. That everything I had built, the friendships, the respect, the love, was bought, not earned, not real. Tears burned Amara's eyes, not for herself, for him. Then why marry me? I heard about you, the orphan girl being sold by her uncle. I investigated, learned Boadu had gambling debts, 17,000 cedis to a loan shark, that he'd stolen from the village fund to pay some of it, that he was using you to clear the rest. So you paid the debts. I bought them from the loan shark, cleared his accounts, then arranged the marriage. I paid your bride price not to own you, but to free you from him. But you trapped me with you. Yes, no defense, no excuse. I'm not proud of it. But I saw myself in you, someone discarded, unwanted. And I thought maybe if she stays, if she chooses this life without knowing what I am, then maybe one person in the world actually chose you. He nodded. Pathetic, I know. Amara stood, crossed the room, stopped in front of him. It's not pathetic. It's human. I manipulated you. Yes. I lied by omission. Yes. And you're what, forgiving me? I don't know yet. But I understand you. That's different.
She walked out, needed air, needed space to think. The market was closed, but Mama Akos lived behind her stall. The old woman opened her door without questions, made tea, let Amara sit in silence. After an hour, Mama Akos spoke. The truth came out. Yes. And? He's a billionaire, been pretending to be a beggar for 3 years, testing people, testing me. What did he learn? Amara frowned. That people are cruel, that no one wanted him when he had nothing. And what did you learn? That he's... She stopped, thought. That he's scared, wounded, that his wealth is a curse as much as a blessing. Do you love him? The question shocked her. I don't know. I barely know him. You know him better than anyone has in 3 years. You chose him when he was nothing. That's knowing someone. I chose survival. Did you? Mama Akos sipped tea. You could have begged the chief for annulment, could have run away, could have refused the marriage publicly. But you didn't. You stayed, planted a garden, built a life with a man everyone called crippled and worthless. Why? Amara opened her mouth, closed it. I don't know. I think you do. Amara returned at midnight. Kwame sat on the step outside, head in hands. He looked up when she approached. I'm staying, she said. Why? Because you gave me something no one else did. Money? Respect. She sat beside him. You could have revealed your wealth immediately, could have bought my compliance, could have forced me into intimacy, into gratitude, into anything, but you didn't. You gave me space, choices, distance, even annulment papers. I still lied. You protected yourself. I can't blame you for that. The world hurt you. You built walls. That's human. Kwame's voice cracked. What do we do now? Now we end the hiding. At the rain ceremony, we reveal who you are, and we make Uncle Boadu answer for what he did.
You're sure?
I'm sure. He extended his hand, not as a husband, as a partner. Amara took it.
The next 2 days blurred with preparation. Kwame made calls, dozens, to lawyers, accountants, officials. He pulled documents from the locked box, bank records, ledgers, contracts, evidence. Amara watched him transform. No longer a beggar, no longer pretending. He moved with confidence, precision, authority. This was who he really was. A builder, a strategist, a man who'd created something from nothing and refused to let anyone destroy it. How much did Uncle steal? She asked. 15,000 cedis from the Village Development Fund, supposed to repair the school and clinic. He gambled most of it, used the rest for personal expenses, lied to the chief about construction costs. How do you know? I bought his debts, got his financial records. He's been skimming for 2 years. That's why you paid for the marriage. Partly, but mostly to free you. Amara studied him. Do you always mix business with mercy? Only when it matters. The night before the ceremony, Dr. Mensah delivered one last piece of evidence, a folder marked confidential. Medical records, he said. Your accident report, treatment logs, therapy progress, proof the limp was temporary, not permanent. Everything you need. Thank you. Dr. Mensah looked at Amara. You know everything now. Yes. And you're staying. Yes. The doctor smiled. Good. He needs someone who chose him when he was nothing. After he left, Kwame asked, how many people know the truth? 5. Dr. Mensah, my accountant, my lawyer, 2 managers, that's it. And tomorrow? Tomorrow everyone knows. That night they talked until dawn. Kwame told her everything. Not just the accident and betrayal, but the paranoia that followed, the tests, the disguises, the desperate need to know if anyone would love him, not his money, not his status, just him. I'm not a good man, he said quietly. I used you, made you part of my experiment. That's unforgivable. Maybe, Amara said, but you also saved me. You gave me choices. That counts. Does it? Yes. They sat in silence, hands touching now, not quite holding, but connected. Tomorrow the beggar would become a billionaire. The cripple would stand tall, and Uncle Boadu would fall. But tonight, they were just 2 broken people learning to trust again. The rain ceremony began at noon. The village square overflowed with people. 200 villagers on wooden benches arranged in a horseshoe around the ceremonial platform. Drummers sat in formation, hands poised over taut leather skins. Children clustered on woven mats, squirming with excitement. The air smelled of incense and roasted plantains. Chief Ofosu sat on the high throne, draped in gold and green kente, crown gleaming in the sunlight. Village elders flanked him in their finest robes. This was the most important ceremony of the year, the day they honored ancestors, celebrated the harvest, and announced community decisions. Uncle Boadu stood center stage in his bright red kente cloth, rings glinting, chest puffed with pride. As ceremony coordinator, he controlled the proceedings. He'd already given 2 speeches about village unity and progress under wise leadership. His leadership, of course. Amara sat in the back row, blue scarf wrapped around her shoulders, invisible, exactly where Uncle wanted her. But Kwame wasn't there. Uncle began his 3rd speech, voice booming across the square. Through my efforts, we funded new infrastructure. Through my negotiations, we've secured partnerships with regional traders. Through my wisdom. The drum stopped mid-beat. A black SUV rolled into the square.
sleek, polished, completely out of place in this village of dirt roads and wooden carts. The crowd turned as one. Whispers rippled. The driver's door opened. A man in a press suit stepped out, opened the rear door. Kwame emerged. Not the beggar, not the cripple. He wore a charcoal suit tailored to perfection, white shirt crisp, leather shoes polished to mirrors. He walked with no limp. His stride was smooth, confident, powerful. Behind him, 3 more people exited the vehicle. Dr. Mensah in formal attire, a woman carrying a briefcase marked Legal Services, and a man Amara recognized from Market Gossip, the regional bank manager. The square went silent. Even the children stopped squirming. Uncle's face drained of color. Kwame? What?
Kwame didn't acknowledge him. He walked directly to the platform, stopped before Chief Ofosu, and bowed formally. Not the bow of a beggar, the bow of an equal. "Your Honor," Kwame said, voice carrying across the stunned crowd. "I apologize for the interruption, but I bring urgent evidence of corruption that affects this entire community." Chief Ofosu leaned forward, confused but intrigued. "Kwame Osei? You're not—" "Not a beggar, no. I am Kwame Osei, owner and CEO of Osei Holdings, the largest agricultural export company in the Western region. I have been living in disguise in your village for the past 6 months, and in that time, I have uncovered systematic theft of public funds." The crowd erupted, gasps, shouts, whispers exploding into chaos. Uncle stumbled backward. This is ridiculous! Guards, remove this! "Mr. Boisdoux, I suggest you remain quiet." The lawyer stepped forward, opened her briefcase. "Chief Ofosu, we have documented evidence that Boisdoux has embezzled 15,000 cedis from the Village Development Fund over the past 2 years." She handed a thick folder to the chief. Chief Ofosu opened it, eyes scanning the pages. Bank statements, transaction records, receipts. His expression darkened with each page turn. "Boisdoux," the chief said slowly, "these records show that money allocated for school repairs, clinic equipment, and road maintenance was withdrawn by you and deposited into personal accounts, then gambled away at illegal betting houses in 3 different towns?" Uncle's hands shook. I can explain. Those are mistakes. Accounting errors." "Accounting errors?" Kwame's voice cut like a blade. "You falsified construction invoices? You claimed materials were purchased that never existed? You forged signatures of contractors who were never hired?" He turned to the crowd. "The 2,000 cedis allocated for this ceremony, he pocketed half of it. The new roof on his compound, built with your children's school fund." Gasps turned to angry murmurs. Uncle pointed a shaking finger at Kwame. You have no right. You're an outsider, a fraud. You pretended to be disabled, begged for coins, deceived everyone."
"I deceived no one." Kwame's tone was ice. "I said nothing about myself. People made assumptions based on my appearance. But you, Mr. Bodu, you actively lied, falsified documents, stole from orphans and sick villagers, and you trafficked your own niece." "Trafficked?" Chief Ofosu stood. "What are you talking about?" The lawyer handed over another document. Under national law, bride price arrangements that bypass the consent of the bride and are conducted primarily for financial gain constitute human trafficking. Mr. Bodu sold his niece to clear gambling debts. Mr. Osei purchased those debts from the loan shark to document the crime. The crowd turned toward Amara. She felt their eyes, pitying, shocked, ashamed for not seeing. Chief Ofosu read the document, face darkening further. "Is this true, Amara? Did Bodu force this marriage without your consent?" Amara stood slowly, removed her blue scarf, let it fall to the ground. "Yes, Your Honor. I had no choice. Uncle found my savings, money I'd earned and saved for teacher training. He took it. Then he sold me to pay his debts. I signed the marriage contract with a pen in one hand and his threats in my ears. The crowd erupted again. Villagers shouting, elders conferring, children crying, scared by the sudden chaos. Uncle lunged toward Amara. "You ungrateful, after everything I did for you!" Kwame moved in between them instantly, not threatening, just present, a wall. "You did nothing for her," Kwame said quietly, but the words carried. "You exploited an orphan for 6 years, worked her like a servant, stole her dreams, then sold her like livestock. That's not family, that's slavery." Uncle's face twisted with rage and fear. "And what about you? You're no better. You bought her. You lied to everyone. I freed her." Kwame turned to Chief Ofosu. "Your Honor, I paid Mr. Bodu's debts, not to purchase Amara, but to expose him. I have documents proving every transaction. I also have documents showing that Amara had no legal representation during the marriage arrangement, which violates the 2019 Family Protection Act, requiring independent counsel for all brides under age 25 in guardian-arranged marriages."
The bank manager stepped forward. "Chief Ofosu, I can verify that Osei Holdings has donated 25,000 cedis to the village fund to cover the stolen amount and finance the originally planned repairs. The money is already in the village account. Mr. Osei is also offering to fund full scholarships for any village orphan who wishes to pursue education." The crowd's energy shifted. Anger at Uncle Boadu, shock at Kwame's revelation, gratitude for the donation, confusion about what came next. Chief Ofosu raised his hand for silence. The drums beat once, a call for order. "Boadu," the chief said, voice heavy with authority and disappointment. "Remove your kente. You have disgraced your position, your family, and this community." Uncle backed away. I'm an elder." "You were an elder," Chief Ofosu gestured to 2 village enforcers. "Remove his ceremonial cloth. He is stripped of all titles. The regional police will be notified. He will face trial for embezzlement and trafficking." The enforcers approached. Uncle tried to run, but his gambling friends, former friends, blocked his path. They grabbed his arms, stripped the bright red kente from his shoulders. It fell into the dirt. Someone's foot, Amara never saw whose, stepped on it. Then another, then a dozen feet, trampling the symbol of his pride into the mud. Uncle collapsed to his knees, weeping, not from remorse, from loss. Aunt Essie stood from the crowd, tears streaming. She approached Amara slowly, fell to her knees. "Forgive me," Aunt Essie whispered. I knew he was hurting you, and I said nothing. I'm so sorry." Amara looked down at the woman who'd turned away so many times, who'd chosen silence over protection. "I forgive you," Amara said quietly. "But forgiveness doesn't mean I'll return. You chose him over me. That choice has consequences." Aunt Essie sobbed harder, but nodded. She understood. Kwame turned to the crowd. "I owe you all an apology as well. I came to your village in disguise because I was broken, betrayed by someone I loved. I wanted to test if people could see value in me without wealth or status. That was selfish. It was unfair to you. But in hiding, I learned something." He looked at Amara.
I learned that dignity isn't bought, it's chosen. This woman, my wife, chose dignity every day. She worked when she could have despaired. She built when she could have destroyed. She stayed when she could have run. She chose me when I was nothing. And that's worth more than 43 million cedis. That's worth everything. The crowd was silent now, respectful, moved. Chief Ofosu stood. "Kwame Osei, you have served this village well,
even in disguise. Your donation restores what was stolen. Your revelation exposes corruption. And your marriage, unconventional as it began, appears to be built on something rare: mutual respect. He turned to Amara. Amara, you are no longer under guardianship. By decree of this ceremony, you are recognized as an independent adult with full legal rights. Your marriage to Kwame Osei is hereby validated by your public affirmation. Do you accept this union of your own free will? Every eye turned to her. Amara looked at Kwame, the man who'd lied, who'd tested her, who'd also respected her, protected her, and chosen her freedom over his control. I accept, she said clearly, by my own choice. Kwame smiled, small, genuine, relieved. Chief Ofosu clapped once. The drums erupted in celebration. The crowd stood, cheering, ululating. As the celebration began, rain started to fall. Gentle, cleansing. Nanaya appeared beside Amara, smiled knowingly. The lame lion roars, just as I said. Amara laughed, real laughter for the first time in years. Uncle Boadu was led away by enforcers, Red Kinte abandoned in the mud. The rain washed it clean. 2 weeks after the rain ceremony, the village transformed. School repairs began. New roof tiles arrived on Osei Holdings trucks. Real contractors started work on the clinic. Fresh paint, new equipment, transparent ledgers posted publicly so every villager could track each Sadie. Uncle Boadu sat in a regional holding cell awaiting trial. Aunt Essie had moved into a rented room near the market, starting over. Amara visited her once. They sat in the tiny room, afternoon light slanting through the window. Aunt Essie served tea with shaking hands. I don't expect forgiveness, Aunt Essie said quietly. I already forgave you at the ceremony, but you won't come back. No, Amara said down the cup. Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. You chose silence when I needed protection. I forgive you because holding anger poisons me, not you. But we can't go back. We were never family. We were captor and captive. Aunt Essie's tears came silently. What will I do?
Live differently. Amara pulled out an envelope. Kwame and I discussed it. 500 cedis. Microloan for the tailoring business you always talked about. Pay it back when you can. No interest. Aunt Essie stared. Why? Because mercy doesn't mean reunion. It means giving you a chance to build something honest. What you do with it is your choice. Amara left before her aunt could respond. She'd said what needed saying. Chief Ofosu called an emergency council 3 days later. All elders attended. Kwame and Amara were invited as witnesses. What happened with Boadu cannot happen again, the chief declared. Dr. Mensah stood up. I propose a new law. All marriages involving brides under 25 require written consent, witnessed by 3 independent parties. No financial transactions without the bride's signature. Debate lasted an hour. Some elders resisted. Tradition is tradition. Others argued for change. Tradition that harms is not worth keeping. Chief Ofosu called for a vote. 7 in favor, 3 against. The law passes, the chief announced, effective immediately. Violations result in annulment and criminal investigation. Amara watched from the gallery, heart full. One village, one law, a start. Kwame's company funded more than buildings. He established the Orphaned Education Fund, full scholarships for village children pursuing teaching, nursing, or agriculture. 12 students enrolled the first month. Amara became administrator. She interviewed applicants, processed paperwork, visited families. For the first time, she had purpose beyond survival. She also taught evening literacy classes in the repaired school. Market women came, farmers, even some elders. Mama Akos was her star pupil. Never too old to learn, the vendor said, writing her name for the first time at 62. 1 month after the ceremony, Kwame and Amara built a modest house on the village edge. 2 bedrooms, a real kitchen, a study for Kwame's remote work, a garden where Amara grew vegetables and flowers, blue and gold, blending old and new. The first night, they sat on the porch watching sunset. "Do you regret it?" Kwame asked. "The hardship? The deception?" Amara considered. "I regret nothing. Every scar teaches. Every humiliation reveals who we truly are." "And who are you?" "Free," she smiled. "For the first time, I'm free. Not because someone gave me freedom, but because I chose it."
Kwame reached for her hand. She let him take it. Their first real touch since the wedding. No performance, no test, just 2 people learning to trust. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For seeing me. Not my money, not my limp, not my mistakes, just me. You did the same for me." They sat in silence as the sun bled orange and gold. In the distance, children's laughter echoed from the schoolyard. Hammers rang as contractors finished the clinic. Market vendors called goodbyes. Life, ordinary and beautiful. Nanaya walked past, saw them, nodded. The lame lion found his pride. The caged bird flies. She continued down the road, humming. Amara laughed softly. She always has the last word. She earned it. As darkness fell, stars appeared. Amara thought of her parents. Gone but not forgotten. They would have liked Kwame, not for his wealth, for his quiet strength, his respect, his willingness to sleep on the floor so she could have a bed. "I'm glad you came to this village." "So am I." They went inside together, not as master and servant, not as buyer and bought, but as partners, equals, 2 people who'd been broken by the world and chose to heal each other. The door closed softly. Outside, rain began to fall again, gentle, cleansing, faithful. 6 months later. Morning sun painted the village gold. Amara stood at the front of her literacy class, watching Mama Akos read aloud from a children's book. "The tree grows strong." The class applauded. 12 students, vendors, farmers, grandmothers who'd never held a pen, all reading now. This was wealth, not CDs. This. After class, Amara walked to the new school. Yellow paint, solid roof, clean windows. Children poured out for recess, laughing across the repaired courtyard. The Orphan Education Fund had grown to 23 students. 3 were already in regional universities. Kwame waited by the garden, their garden, now feeding the school lunch program. He wore simple clothes. The limp was completely gone. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready."
They walked to market together. Osei Holdings had opened a regional office, creating 47 local jobs, fair wages, transparent operations. Kwame visited twice a week but lived here, in their modest home. He'd found something worth more than empires: peace. At market, Aunt Isai's tailoring stall displayed colorful fabrics. She'd repaid the loan in 4 months, now trained 2 apprentices. When she saw Amara, she waved, cautious, respectful, keeping boundaries. Amara waved back. Forgiveness didn't require closeness,
just acknowledgement. Uncle Boadu had been sentenced to 18 months for embezzlement with mandatory community service after. He would rebuild what he'd destroyed. Chief Ofosu's marriage consent law had inspired 2 neighboring villages to adopt similar policies. Small ripples, but ripples spread. That evening, Amara and Kwame sat on their porch as the sun set. "Do you ever miss it?" Amara asked. "The disguise?" "No." Kwame squeezed her hand. "I found what I was looking for. Someone who chose the person, not the package." "And what did I find?" "Your voice, your freedom." Amara leaned her head on his shoulder. In the distance, church bells rang softly. Rain clouds gathered, promising another cleansing. "Sometimes," Amara whispered, "what feels like punishment is preparation. Sometimes the disabled become our greatest strength. Sometimes the poor are richer than kings." Kwame kissed her head. "And sometimes the stories we think are endings are really just beginnings. These are the life stories that matter, the real life stories that remind us dignity cannot be bought or sold. The touching stories found in African folklore and African stories worldwide teach us that worth is chosen, not assigned. What would you do if your family betrayed you? Would you choose forgiveness or justice? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear that freedom is a choice. Subscribe for more African stories that honor resilience and the quiet power of choosing yourself. Next week, a village healer is accused of witchcraft by jealous rivals, but the ancestors have other plans. You won't believe the twist. Hit the bell. The rain began to fall. Gentle, faithful, eternal.